Bethesda really just came out and said it, didn't they? I mean, so Arkane is a studio that is under the Bethesda division, right? And the developer from Arkane just came out and said, why is everyone talking about the elephant in the room? Game Pass. And then people asked what his thoughts on Game Pass were. And Rafael Colantonio, he was the founder of Arkane, the studio that made Dishonored and Dishonored 2, and he was president of Arkane for at least like 18 years. I think he's the president of his own studios now. Yeah, president creative director of Wolfeye Studios. And they asked his opinion on Game Pass, which I honestly share. I mean, I'm a PlayStation fan, but looking at Xbox Game Pass, I don't know how that can be economically sustainable if Xbox is really pushing for Game Pass, because he says, I think Game Pass is an unsustainable model that has been increasingly damaging for the industry for a decade, subsidizing by Microsoft's infinite money. But at some point, reality has to hit. I don't think Game Pass can coexist with other models. They'll either kill everyone else or give up. That's what I'm saying. Looking at these replies, they're all talking about how it just isn't for $10 a month for an entire library of games that even when new games come out, you don't have to pay for the game, because as long as you have the subscription, then you can play the game for as long as you want, for as long as you have the subscription, right? Or at least until however long the game stays on Game Pass. And it's just $10 a month. And if you play, let's say 2 to 3 games a month, that's Microsoft losing, or that developer losing out on $60, $70 for those 3 games in total. So that's like $180 saying that, for me, saying that they might be $60, that they're losing out on you. Instead, you're paying $10 for all of that. So if you're doing that every month, they're losing out on so much money from you buying the game itself that you want to play, which is totally interesting to me, because there's some games where it's completely, well, not completely, but it's warranted that in new game studios, when they make a new game, that putting it on Xbox Game Pass gives it the spotlight where people can play it without really risking their money on it. You know what I mean? Like Liza P, for example. When Liza P first initially came out, it was free on Xbox Game Pass. So if you paid $10, you got to play Liza P for the entire month, which got a lot of Xbox players into playing Liza P, which I think gave it a lot more eyes than normal games would, I think. And I think a lot of people are coming to the realization that that cannot be sustainable. That has to be killing studios, because you're not buying their games. It's like you're paying $10 to play their game when it costs hundreds of millions of dollars to make that game. There's a comment from a person called Very AFK who helps publish video games, and then he's like, regarding the cannibalization of sales, Microsoft usually says, well, we aren't seeing that. And it's like, the economics never made sense. But at the same time, I do recognize that for smaller teams with, yeah, exactly, this is what I said about Liza P, that for smaller teams with new or riskier IPs, it helps de-risk. Much prefer Sony's life cycle management strategy. It's definitely starting to backfire on Microsoft too, hence why they had to lay off 9,000 employees and so many studios and so many games that they were working on, because they don't have the money to keep going. They don't have the money to keep these guys on payroll, because every time a new game comes out that is a contract with Microsoft, it is free on Game Pass day one. Even with Sony, like it takes a few months or maybe a year for it to be a monthly game on PlayStation's monthly service. So that way people wait, they come out to buy the game first, and then if they really want to wait to make sure they play the game, they can wait the few months or year that it eventually does come out as a monthly free game for the PlayStation Plus subscription. But this is very interesting that some developers are starting to be a little more vocal about it. I'm not a huge Xbox person, so I may not know everything about it, but that whole idea is very interesting to me. But what are your guys' thoughts on it? If you liked the video, subscribe, like, comment below. See you all in the next video. Goodbye.